How important is it today to provide hands-on leadership training to your team members?
I think it's critically important. I think in these days and times, top-down management styles just don't work as much anymore, and things are happening too fast, change is happening too fast, and so if we can get everybody on board to think strategically and to buy into the culture that a doctor is trying to live at their practice, and everyone makes consistent decisions, smart decisions, and acts as a leader at every level, those are the practices that will succeed and thrive. So I think it's critical.
It sounds like you really engage people more to work together as a team as opposed to there being one main leader in the office.
Yeah, we really believe that you can have the latest technology, you can have great profits, and you can be a very healthy practice, and you can have a great leader at the top. But if you don't have teamwork, none of that other stuff matters. That is the one sustainable competitive advantage, and it's the piece that people don't always want to invest in. They want it, but they don't necessarily know how to get it, and that's the piece that I think is the most critical of everything else.
That makes sense. So in coming to the Florida Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry and talking to our membership and our team members, what kind of key elements did you take into consideration considering your audience?
We took into consideration that as team members, they're really the people on the front line. They're interacting with patients, they're interacting with each other, and they can make or break what it's like to come to work every day. So their sphere of influence is so great. So we just really are focusing on a couple of different things. Communication is critical, and what do you do, and how do you communicate more effectively? How do you lead, no matter what your position is in a practice? How do you engage in a positive team culture and really focus on yourself? You can't control what others do, but one person can make a difference. And the other part is innovation and creativity. Healthcare is no different than everywhere else. It's going to be those practices that innovate that make it into the future. So letting team members know that they're a part of that equation.
It all sounds like really relevant information considering, owning my own practice and having my own team. You mentioned creativity. How does creativity play a part in the whole process?
Well, for us, creativity is, people think creativity is, oh, you're an artist or you're in advertising, and that's not really what it is for us. We taught creativity at the college level, and we feel that it's creative problem solving. It's a new way of looking at something. It's another solution. So maybe there are processes that are incredibly inconvenient for a patient. And maybe there's someone, working at a front desk or a tech or someone who goes, why are we doing it this way? What if we just did this, this, and this? And all of a sudden it's a win for the practice, it's a win for the staff, and it's a win for the patient. That's creativity.
It sounds like it makes things fun. Is fun an important component of what you do?
I think so. I think we spend so much time at work that why not make it fun? Sure, work is serious, and we all have goals and safety issues and in any kind of workplace, but there's nowhere that fun can't be, and it just is a mindset that needs to be adopted, and everybody needs to do their part. And if everyone has a little bit more fun, I think it's contagious. I think you see it. People want to come to work every day. People are engaged, and patients see it. They have fun when they come.
Sure. Well, tell me about CYL.
Okay. The name of our company is Catch Your Limit Consulting. We started it 13 years ago. We have offices in Richmond, Virginia and Tallahassee, Florida. And we are a management firm that really focuses on developing leaders at all levels. We believe that aspiring to catch your limit or realize your full potential is our mission. And to teach different tools that allow people to say, we're not just going to be mediocre, we're not going to come to work and be complacent, but we're really going to aspire to be great leaders, great team members, great individuals. That is, if we can do that, then we've left workplaces far better than we found them, and that's really what we focus on.
What do you think sets your company aside from the other likewise companies in the industry?
I think when we set out to start Catch Your Limit, we just decided the world did not need another boring consulting company, and also we could not come to work somewhere every day that it was boring. It would not be fun for us. And so when we really started looking at it and believing in the power of people, we would do these interviews, and there are so many ideas if people would have the courage just to speak up. And so we started looking at, oh, it's not just about ideas, but it's about environments and cultures and leadership, and And for us, it's kind of about the power of the people and showing leaders that you don't have to forego engaged culture, a fun place to work for profits, that it is a bottom line issue and that they can make a difference.
That's interesting. Do you think the industry is moving away from live training, live leadership training, and moving more towards web-based training?
That's a great question. Some industries really are trying to forego in person. They say there's no time anymore, those kind of things. But I think that what we probably see more often than not is that there has to be the right balance. And the right balance is different kind of for every group. Distance learning is magnificent when it works really well. But there also is something about coming together for a conference like this one for FACD where people meet other people who do what they do. There's live human interaction. There's someone to say, oh, I know what you do, or I can talk with you, or I can create with you. And out of that collaboration and synergy in person, I'm not sure that I've found something that exactly replicates it. So what we talk about is finding the right balance, that there's advantages to both, and it's kind of getting it in harmony. So we're big proponents of online learning and distance learning, but I just don't think it replaces face-to-face.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it's about balance more than anything else. I can understand that you can't really get away from having that live interaction with more people. It just kind of builds upon itself more.
But we also just, I struggle because people ask us all the time, well, training takes time, and it takes time to build a culture in our practice, or it takes time. How long is it going to take? And I say it takes as long as it takes. If you're going to adopt some of these things in your own practice or in your own life, I can't tell you how long it's going to take your team to build trust, or how long it's going to take your team to form a culture of leadership, because every team is different and it takes as much as it takes. And some groups do it well with distance, other groups don't. So as an industry, the role that FACD plays, I think, is just to give people options for the individual members to plug in and find what works for them. But I encourage everyone to come face to face at least once a year like this. It creates a community.
I think we're all really looking for that ideal team to work with, to mesh with, and everybody gets along, and things seem like they're so much better when everybody gets along. How does that work as far as like building a culture within an office? Because in our offices there's turnover, and we're always looking for like the perfect person in the right position. So how does it work when you develop a culture? How do you know when you have the right people in the right position?
Yeah, I think that you have the right people in the right positions when you don't question whether you made the right hire. If you asked, Jim Collins has a great piece in his book, Good to Great, and he has audio excerpts on his website. And one of my favorite excerpts from him speaking is he says, make sure you have the right people in the right seats first. But if you really want to know if you made the right hire, ask yourself, if you could do it all over again, would you hire them? And that answer tells you so much. So, I think having the right people in the right seats, having the right people, and once you get that established, asking them what they want to come to work to every day, including them, getting them to generate the ideas of what kind of culture do they want to come to work for, and then allowing them to be the ambassadors of it. So many groups spend time on new employee orientation, processes, procedures, those kind of things, and never talk about values. Never talk about, look, every interaction, this is what I expect, this is our brand. We need to live it at every touch point. And I think if organizations would take that little extra step to do the cultural orientation and to hold employees accountable for living it at every touch point, I think that's what transforms cultures. I think people, it's okay to set high expectations. If you've got the right people on your team, they'll strive for that little bit higher point. And I just think if you're allowed to be complacent, we all seem to kind of drift in that. So leadership needs to set the goal and then hold people accountable to that goal.
In working with so many different generations, are the new generations expecting more differently than the older generations?
A little bit. Sometimes I think it's just a language gap. I think that the younger generations express that they want more faster. It's not unusual to have someone in their 20s, if you ask them, where would you like to be in a few months, for them to say senior management, or I want to basically have your job. And when we ask them what they really mean by that, they don't want age to get in the way of career mobility. They want it to be about performance. And so that's a huge difference and shift. And what I'll talk about with this team at this conference is that the sheer numbers of Gen X are so much lower than the sheer numbers of Gen Y. I mean, Gen Y is essentially another baby boom. And so whereas Gen X paved the way for a few things, we didn't have to change everything for Gen X. But we're really in a critical moment where we are changing everything to accommodate two different things. One dynamic is baby boomers aren't retiring at the rates that we thought that they would. And Gen Y is coming into the workforce, and there's so many of them, and they can make demands on us as leaders that other people couldn't. So I think it's a great thing. I think in a lot of ways they're bringing good questions. They're asking us to rethink. They're bringing innovation. They're very collaborative. There are all these strengths that those groups that know how to harness their strengths versus sort of complaining about the downsides, I think they're going to have competitive advantages.
Great. Well, here we are with Melissa Laughon. She's speaking to the Florida Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry's Annual Scientific Session 2012. And she's tremendously knowledgeable in leadership consulting, and we're really looking forward to her speaking to our team members.